Our communities are bright, vibrant safe havens for our small town lifestyles. We don't fear much, and not much comes our way that is out of the ordinary. Our communities are also richer than most of us know in diversity and population, religion and culture. More than just a handful of counties nestled in the western part of the Bluegrass State, we are poised to open up and discover those around us. Differences drive us, inclusion claws at us. Thought-provoking open-mindedness will be our charge into the next generation, learning along the way what it will take to transform us into a true 21st century leader among communities. This is the annual Multicultural Festival in Owensboro, Kentucky. It was started in 1999 by a Chinese-American member of the First Presbyterian Church as a new ministry and outreach. Now in its 17th year, the festival continues to grow, showcasing the food, entertainment, and people of the area that many locals may not realize live among them. This gathering is bright and shiny and puts a face to a people that have come from very far away under varying circumstances to make a life in the land of the free. Burma is located in Southeast Asia, bordered by China and Laos to the east, Thailand to the south, Bangladesh to the west, and India to the northwest. In size, it is roughly as big as Texas, with twice as many people, giving the total population to around 54 million. The lack of an educated workforce skilled in modern technology hinders Burma's economy. The military government has the majority stakeholder position in all of the major industrial corporations of the country, from oil production and consumer goods to transportation and tourism. And there is a consensus that the military regime in Burma is one of the world's most repressive and abusive. International human rights organizations, including Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, have repeatedly documented and condemned widespread human rights violations in Burma. Civil wars have been a constant feature of Burma's socio-political landscape since the attainment of independence in 1948. These wars are predominantly struggles for ethnic autonomy. Following offensives by the Burmese military which caused extensive displacement of civilians across the Thailand-Burma border, 9 official refugee camps were set up for the displaced. While these camps offer their residents some element of protection, the Thai government imposes harsh restrictions on refugees' freedom of movement, prohibiting residents from leaving the camps, earning income, or obtaining a good quality education. To the Thai government, those who leave the camps without permission forfeit their claim to asylum and become illegal immigrants, subject to arrest, detention, and deportation. Yet by remaining in the camps without any source of income, refugees become completely dependent on aid agencies who are themselves subject to the donor fatigue of the international community, which has been supporting Burmese refugees since the mid-1980s. Most of the camps are isolated in the mountains and at the ends of dirt roads far from cities and towns, often at long distances from hospitals. Many refugees have lived in these camps for decades. Some adolescents were born in the camps and know no other place. After so many years with such restrictions, it is not surprising that many camp residents experience domestic abuse, depression, and other social and mental health problems. Tam Hin is just 6 miles across the border into Thailand and 100 miles from Bangkok. Its population is 96% Karen. There is no mobile phone coverage and access is only possible by car. Due to its isolated location, the camp is off the electricity grid, although the camp office and health and education centers in the camp do have access to power from electric generators. Some households also have access to these to recharge vehicle batteries and temporarily power residential lighting. Conditions at Tam Hin are severely cramped and have been kept intentionally rudimentary by the Thai authorities. The camp has never been attacked, though Burmese army troop movements in the area have sometimes led to increased security awareness. Refugees from Burma have resettled in the United States in waves, with the first group of approximately 1,400 arriving in June 2004. In 2006, the U.S. government waived restrictions that would allow approximately 9,000 Karen refugees from the Tam Hin refugee camp in Thailand to resettle into the United States. Since 2005, the top 3 states for Burmese immigrant resettlement were Texas, New York, and Indiana, and now some are trickling their way through Kentucky and settling in Owensboro. According to the 2010 United States Census, more than 100,000 persons of Burmese descent resided in the United States, an increase of 499% over the previous census, and according to sources locally, as many as 1,100 Burmese refugees are living in Daviess County or the surrounding area. Where are they, you may be wondering?
My name is Taiji. I'm 24 years old. I've been in America about 4 years already. Before I lived in the Myanmar refugee camp in Thailand. Because the civil one in the Burma, because the Burmese soldiers, they came to our village and burned our house, our field, our rice field. So we have nothing left to eat, nothing to do. So we leave our country and move to the refugee camp. My day like a regular day, like a day by day. You just wake up, because I was a student in the camp. Just go to the school, come back home, and just daily life there. And the whole lot to do for the future. To go back to the country is because we have a one in the country, so cannot go back over there. So just hope we will get the freedom in the country day by day and go like that.
In my life, in the past, in the refugee camp is very struggling. So we have to face so many difficulty in the refugee camps. Then I have lived in refugee camps 25 years. When I was 7 years, I lived in the Burma, and then I will reside in the refugee camps. And we became a refugee, and we'll learn. I have gone to the school in the refugee camps. Then, we have in the camp, so we have 50,000 people in the camp. We have we build a house like a tent. We live very cloudy. It's done by the grace of God. We have a good opportunity to the resettlement program. It's opening, so I have applied. Then I have to come in America.
What does coming to America mean? What hurdles do refugees have when picking up and leaving the confines of the camp and coming to the land of opportunity? How is housing and employment established? School for the children, English classes, and money. How do they survive without money? Some of this responsibility falls immediately on the shoulders of the International Center of Kentucky. According to their website, the International Center of Kentucky is a refugee resettlement agency. Started in 1981, the International Center has helped to resettle over 10,000 refugees, as well as other immigrants from 30 countries around the globe. Working closely with the Department of State and the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, the International Center ensures that refugees and other immigrants with such status have a support structure that would enable them to fully integrate and thrive in the United States. I talked to Kelly Price from the International Center of Kentucky about this process.
There are 117 refugee resettlement agencies in the United States. Generally, when they come over, majority of them, because I know a lot of people ask, well, why Bowling Green? Why Owensboro? Why do they come here? Usually there's already an established community. Somebody knows somebody here, a family member's here, friends are here, and they request to be resettled in certain cities. So a lot of people ask, well, why Owensboro? Why did they choose, Bowling Green, or why did they choose Lexington or Louisville? And majority of that reason is because there's family and already, an established community there. So we try to provide them the comfort of, knowing somebody, or at least, having their own, that they can adapt to and help resettle into a new life here with them. We will find an apartment for them. We will set up the apartment, provide food, provide a cultural meal for them once they get off the airplane and get into their apartment. It has to be a culturally hot meal. Usually a U.S. Thai or anchor or a family member will provide that meal because they're familiar with what they're used to. We're just not going to take them to McDonald's, obviously. So we have to provide that for them. It's part of the core services we offer them. From that point forward, that's how we start the process of how we're going to allocate, how many case managers we're going to need or how many people are going to be assigned to somebody. So the process is pretty straightforward. It's a step-by-step process. Once they get established, they get the apartment set up, they land in the apartment, we start setting up the appointments for, health appointments, medical screenings, immunizations. We usually get them enrolled in schools, depending on how many children they have, if they're school-age children, and we get them enrolled in ESL, and then they start the employment process with me. Usually it's the employable adults. If it's children over 18, if they're not in school, then we'll ask them, what are their goals being here? Do they want to work? How do they want to, survive? How do they want to become self-sufficient? And then the process starts going. We tend to have a huge language barrier. There's many different culture barriers, but the benefit that we have with the International Center is that our case managers are former refugees. They are, adaptable to the culture. The two case managers we have in Owensboro, they're both from Burma. They are Burmese, they speak the language, they speak actually a couple different dialects. So they're able to communicate with the clients that come over here. So not necessarily we have to, hire an interpreter to come in because our case managers can work with them. And they're pretty much like community liaisons with each other. And that's how we can address the communication barrier. When we start employment, services, when they go to interviews, the case managers will go with them. They provide the interpretation for them. They, help them do the training. They help them with the interview. We help them with the application process. And just basically, that's how we can overcome that. So we're fortunate to have the two case managers here that do speak Burmese. A lot of them are employed at the same place. So the community kind of gathers at the employment place because a lot of them do go to the same employer. Like I said before, the case management doesn't stop for until a 5-year mark. We are required to provide services for them. So after 180 days, if they're self-sufficient, we have different programs that are, up to 8 months, so 240 days. And the case management doesn't stop. It doesn't just stop right at, at a target date. We refer them to, Audubon area. We help them find different kind of skill trainings to put them in. So we just don't leave them high and dry.
Some of the skills currently being provided by Audubon area are in basic automotive maintenance class, engine repair class, class and transmission repair class, with 162 having gone through the auto training and received certification. Basic welding class is currently enrolled, with 38 people training. A basic computer use class has 29 enrolled in this course.
You know, it doesn't stop there. The doors close. Our doors are always open, especially with employment. If they have been working at a certain company for, X amount of time and they're ready to change, they come back and see me and we discuss different employment options. How are we going to get there? What are the steps that we need to take? Do we need to take certain courses at school? Do we need to take certain skill trainings? What are the steps that we need to accomplish to get you where you want to go? And we just don't want to leave them hanging, because I couldn't imagine being put in a country that I do not know the laws, I do not know the language, I don't know the city, I don't know the school system. I would be, an absolute mess. So to have that support system is essential, and we don't want anybody to feel that they are just left out high and dry after your expiration date of your program. It's over. Absolutely not. Even though the mark is 5 years, we continue it on until they need us.
One arm of the skill training that she refers to is Audubon area. Audubon is adding 4 new skill trainings per year that will be tailored more to market demand, so that each client will have marketable skills that employers are seeking. Audubon also plans to add skill training for those needing verification of a skill they already possess, but don't have the documentation stating they have been trained.
Audubon's role is we take clients that have been in America for 8 months and beyond, up to 5 years. So the International Center takes them from date of arrival until 8 months, and then they kind of cut them loose from that funding source, and then they come to us. So we have to help them beyond that point with employment. We work with them until 5 years, but Audubon's goal is to continue working with them beyond that if they still need assistance. So, but our cutoff date is 5 years based off of our funding source and what they want us to do. But Audubon as a whole wants to make sure that we serve them beyond that point as well.